Good morning, developers. If you are new to the channel, my name is Rob, and it is CS Thursday, the day that we look at the theory behind our craft. Although today is going to be different than a normal Thursday, we are going to take a ride on the hype train and talk about artificial intelligence. I hate the hype train. I'm not anti-AI, I'm anti-hype. I'm not a slow adopter. We are being sold so hard that AI is going to solve all our problems. It is going to make us all billionaires. We'll have no health problems, no cultural tensions, no racial tensions. Everything is going to be solved by this. Just like cryptocurrency or name your hype cycle. And this comes up because recently a video came out a little over a month ago as of the making of this video by a company called Cognition Labs. They have some big name investors from what I understand, but they posted a video on YouTube that went viral by my standards. And the title, I'm going to paraphrase it in case they've changed it just so that that's clear. Meet Devin, the world's first AI software engineer. And there was a subsequent video. Watch Devin do his side hustle on Upwork. So they're insinuating he's making money while you sit at home in your pajamas and eat snacks. You can copy and paste things into your chat bot and make money. Okay, just like cryptocurrency. Oh, except not like cryptocurrency. Well, you were at home in your pajamas eating snacks and trading cryptocurrency, and then you lost all your money. This is just like that, except for the losing your money part. You'll make lots of money. The video is so misleading, and I hope they didn't do it on purpose. Maybe it's not possible, to be honest, because people are going to always find evidence to support whatever they want. They want to believe that AI is going to solve all your problems, or they believe AI is going to take over the world, or Mark Zuckerberg is training an army of robots to kill us all. I'd say that's probably the most likely of those three things. I am passionate about keeping this statement true. I don't, whether AI is a thing forever that is totally ingrained into our lives, I can't say. I see it as a tool to be leveraged, just like fire and printing press. And I'm talking specifically about generative AI. AI is the marketing term that pretty much everybody is using for anything that a computer does that you could in any way ascribe to being a human being. That's been going on for decades. Facial recognitions, that's not a new thing. Getting directions on Google Maps, that's not a new thing either. A lot of stuff that's being touted as AI is not even close to as good as those things are, and those have been out forever. I'm talking about generative AI, being able to take requirements, write code, learn, that kind of thing. How do we stay ahead of it? That's what I'm passionate about. That is what I want to address here. And so my goal is not to debunk the video. I will put a link in the description to a video that I found. I thought the author did a fantastic job. I have no association with him. I don't know him other than I subscribe to his channel. I thought he was very transparent, very fair, very clear in making the video look like it's obviously misleading, that they're not even close to being honest. They're just sucking in VC money or riding the hype train or whatever. Because as soon as that video goes out, right, what happens? All of the software engineers all over the world that see it immediately think, I'm going to be replaced, panic, panic, panic. And everybody out there who has to employ a software engineer thinks, oh, this is awesome. I can pay these people money and I don't have to pay my software engineers near as much money anymore. Neither of those is true. Okay, so the way that we're going to approach this is, what can Devin do? And because of the anthropomorphism, it's hard to not call it a him, even though it's definitely an it. I may make that mistake sometimes, but I will refer to what it can do. What can we do that overlaps? And then where can we excel again so that this remains true? The first thing that Devin does in the video is take requirements. This is just part of generative AI. You can tell the bot to do something, and it can process your language using large language models. And again, what it does is actually really cool. It isn't fair because they take a ticket and they only copy a tiny bit of it. There's a whole bunch of deliverables that they don't copy, probably because Devin can't do it. But you copy and you paste it in. It comes up with a task list and then spits out some code and tells you, if it was able to solve it or not. Okay? Can you do this? Okay, yes, you can. This is something that we as software engineers do. Unless you're making the project for yourself, whoever you are working with and making it for, has the stakeholders have some ability to dictate how the project goes. And so if all you do when you take requirements is confirm what they want, you are in trouble. Because generative AI can already do that. Devin does that, okay? Here's what I want you to do. Okay, I will do it. You have to be able to do more than that, okay? This is something that we have to do, right? But that's not enough for this statement to remain true. What's another version? Well, maybe request basic information. Okay, so like they paste into Devin, this is a task. Devin maybe notices some key information's missing, or more files need to be created, or whatever. Okay, if this is what you can do, again, you're in trouble because generative AI can already do this to some degree and is going to continue to get better. Okay, so this isn't going to be enough to remain right better than artificial intelligence. What can you do, or what can we as humans do that AI is not good at? We can draw things out. When someone makes a request, this is one of the most important things we as engineers, human engineers, can do is they say, I want this, 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 and this, and you work through the requirements with them, and you can figure out where they don't really know what they want and help them out. This isn't Devin's fault, right? This isn't the chatbot's fault. This is the human's fault. You didn't give me the right information. We as software engineers can stand in the gap where we speak human, understanding what their goals are, but we also speak tech. I sat across the table from a client who said that they wanted to use an AWS service. It was going to cost a couple $1,000s a month. And it didn't really make sense because this website only had a couple thousand hits a month. And so I didn't really understand. And as I'm sort of following along, I bring up, hey, I don't think we probably need to use this thing. And finally, the client sort of blurts out, Rob, I want to use this because our top competitor uses it. And if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us. Oh, okay. That makes a little bit more sense. It took some time to get there to finally understood what was driving this. And I said, hey, the reason they're using this is because they're getting millions of hits a day. We're talking more like about a couple thousand hits a day. Why don't we save the money for now? But let's put this on the docket. The reason they're using it is this, and this, right? We don't need it. That is something that AI is not good at, and I don't think ever will be, because we can draw things out. That is something that you need to work on. These types of soft skills, they are so valuable. We stand in the gap between the client and the machine. I cleared off the board for this last part of take requirements so that it hits home, so that it's really obvious, and I can write it in really big letters. Of everything that I have said, the one thing I am absolutely certain that no AI bot or Devin will ever be able to do, and that is to empathize. Real human empathy is almost unique in nature. Yes, the bots can put words on the screen that look empathetic, but you can tell as a human being when the other person actually cares and when they don't. And everybody knows what a wonderful feeling that is. You've experienced it at some point when you're talking to someone and you can clearly tell they're interested in your goals and your priorities, in what happens to you, in the end result for you. And everybody has experienced the horrible feeling of the other person coming across like a narcissist, or worst case, sociopath, where they clearly don't care, they're trying to coerce you. Drawing requirements out of somebody and doing it in a coercive way when you clearly have an agenda, Devin can do that, right? AI bots can already do that because they lack empathy in the most profound sense of the word. They're simply ones and zeros. It's just electrical pulses going back and forth. I have a playlist on technical communication for engineers, and I have one video that's dedicated to this. It's 8 or 9 minutes. I will put it in the description. But if you want to distinguish yourself, this was true before AI existed. It's true right now. And if we have a war with the robots in the future and we wipe them all out and there's no more AI, this will still be one of the most valuable things that you can offer anybody, whether as an engineer or as a human being. Your clients, your fellow engineers, everyone will appreciate it, and it will give you significant value. Okay, the second thing that Devin can do, and I'm going to come over here for this one, is code. It is undeniable that generative AI can spit out code. Okay, you're thinking, wait, Rob, that's not what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear some really good news that it can't code. Well, that's not true. It can. But what does that mean? Okay, what does it mean that somebody can code? Because I've had people sit across my desk and say they can in an interview and they couldn't. Okay, so first thing, Devin can copy and paste, right? AI can do that. Earlier today, I was working on a video that's one of the more complicated sorting algorithms that uses recursion. And just to test my implementation, I asked ChatGPT for an implementation, and it, to the space, gave me an example I had just looked at a few minutes earlier on a website that you'd be familiar with. There's no question in my mind. It took that answer directly from the internet, so it didn't copy and paste. If that's all you bring to the table is copying and pasting code, you're in big trouble because the Devin can do that, right? The bots out there can already do that. And I'm not saying I haven't done that. I had a point, plenty of times where I went out to Stack Overflow, I copied some code, pasted it in, saved it, crossed my fingers, and refreshed and hope it worked. And it didn't work, so I went back to Stack Overflow, found some more code, okay? We're all guilty of that at some point. But you got to be able to bring more to the table because that is not going to be enough anymore to keep this statement true. The other thing it can do, what else does Devin do? Well, it can write buggy code. Again, I'm not saying I'm so much better because I certainly have written my share of buggy code. In the video, the one error that Devin appears to fix, or the one bug it appears to troubleshoot, is a bug that it created. It creates a file that has an error in it, if I remember right, and then it fixes that error. That's not a particularly valuable skill set. The question here is, do you do more than that? Can you do better than just write buggy code? Because the machines are going to get to the point where they're really good at that. Okay, we got to get past that. What's next on the list? Well, presumably, and you can't really tell from the Devin video whether what it does actually works because it isn't long enough, but the bots, presumably can write working code at least some of the time. Okay, they're usually low-level problems, at least right now. Is that the top of the order? And I would say no. Okay, what do you mean by working code? Let me roll back about 20 years here. I remember using Dreamweaver, I think in 2004. Dreamweaver was a product that Adobe came out with. It was the first WYSIWYG editor I had ever used, I had ever seen. And it blew my mind. And I immediately freaked out, thinking you can click on File, click on New, and you can drag and drop and make a web page like you can a Word document. And I thought, my skills, my degree in computer science, all my experience doing web development is useless now. Until I had to actually edit the source code. I opened up the source code and there was a text field that I just was going to edit that, add a class or something to it. And there were literally 50 plus div tags wrapped around it. Now I closed it immediately in disgust, thinking, what on earth is this? I don't ever want to see it again. I came back and I counted them out and I was absolutely shocked. What on earth did it do? It like I said, we get div, right? Sorry if that's annoying. We had a little bit of text in there and then all the closing divs. And most of them had classes with all kinds of metadata. It was just nonsense. If I got that, even a tenth of that from any junior developer, I would absolutely not accept that. I would never want to work on that. Okay, so working code doesn't necessarily mean that this is good. What if the bot creates 70 files all that have functions that call each other and that they all end up in the same spot, right? You could eliminate all of that, simplify the code, it will run faster, it'll be easier to work on, etc. Is that better than what you can do? Well, hopefully you can do better than working code. And what can you do that the bots cannot? Write good, creative, clean code that developers want to work on, right? At least can work on, but ideally want to work on. This is going to always keep you ahead of the bots because we know what we want to see, right? We can eliminate all of the extra stuff. Being creative, those are the types of things that create good code. And if you follow the channel, that is the purpose of CS Thursday and Algorithm Monday. That's why I do those things. Getting good at the fundamentals, understanding computer science topics, understanding what's going on under the hood, doing algorithms, challenging yourself to improve big O numbers, getting better and better at the fundamentals so that you can pivot in any direction. If you're totally niche based, if you're any of those three things, you're in trouble. But if you're a good programmer, you're in business. I remember sharing this illustration with somebody at an interview. They had posted very specifically, they were looking for a C# developer. And they wanted to know if I was a C# developer. And I said, that's not the right question. That's like asking me if I am a red house painter. If what you mean is, can I paint your house? I'll paint it any color you want. Red, brown, blue, purple. You get the idea. But you're asking me a silly question. The color paint doesn't make any difference. Can I paint is what matters. That's the same thing here. have you completely isolated yourself into a tiny niche? And if there's any change, right, if AI brings about any change in the industry, you're stuck like Flash developers were back in the day, like Cold Fusion developers were back in the day, right? WordPress, that was gonna end all web developers until until it created even more problems because now there's lots of WordPress developers. Wix was going to do the same thing. We weren't going to need web developers anymore. It never seems to actually happen that way because we always will need people who know how to pivot, who can write creative, good, efficient solutions. Okay? The third thing that Devin can do is, I'm going to put in quotes here, learn. Okay, and I got it in quotes there because your definition of learn very much depends on how you interpret this. The bots are going to continue to get better. They're going to continue to improve their solutions. Google's tool, I think, generates thousands, maybe even millions of solutions for a given problem, and then it will allow you to choose the best of a curated list, or it will choose the most performant or whatever. They're going to continue to improve in various ways. The question is, how do they learn, or what do they do? And I'm going to put under here, they consume. Almost every AI company right now, every big tech company, they have invested 9, even maybe 10 figures into training their models, but they don't have enough data. And so they're almost all violating privacy laws. At least I think they are, knowing that they'll have to pay fines, but the fines are cheaper to pay than if they fall behind everybody else. So they are consuming constantly. They just need more content. They're consumption based, and that is it. What can you do when it comes to learning? You can involve and invest. We can help each other as developers. We can grow and we can learn together. I remember seeing a CTO of a big company saying that he would pay double for 2 in-office engineers than he would for remote engineers, because getting 2 people in the room together, the bouncing ideas off, there is so much value in it. Again, like the draw out thing, right? Brainstorming together, so much magic happens there. Getting involved in the community in whatever form that takes, working with other developers, bouncing ideas off of, that isn't consumption, right? You're helping each other. No matter how good you are relative to the other person, you are both gaining from that. Investing in the community, that is a surefire way to improve. That all humans will remain better if you invest in some form in the community, whatever that means. Maybe it's just commenting on YouTube videos, maybe it's answering basic questions, maybe it's asking questions, because someone answering those will help the community. Whatever that looks like for you, being involved with other developers in the community and investing back somehow into other people is an absolute surefire way to make sure that you remain ahead of the chatbots. These are my ways to stay ahead of AI. As far as the Devin video, a final thought. Please remain skeptical across the board on all things AI right now. Again, there are so many people that stand to make a lot of money. There's so many reasons for them to embellish or mislead, or even just a tiny, tiny change that doesn't seem like it has a big impact. You have been an internet user for a long time. You know how to filter and be skeptical of stuff that's online. You can always find evidence to support whatever it is that you want to believe. Just remember, AI is in a wild hype cycle. Everybody is trying to get your attention and your money. Be skeptical and focus on what makes you good as a developer. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time on CS Thursday.